Well, good morning and greetings, Business 20 students. This is Mr.D again, and this is week number 5 in our 8-week course here in Business Mathematics at Norco College. This week we're going to be looking at chapters 12 and 14. Now, last week you had your first exam. You had to cover chapters 10 and 11, which are two of the ones that most students struggle with the most. And hopefully you worked through that. You got my feedback, and you were able to get through the exam. And we're able to deal with chapters 10 and 11. We're kind of taking some of those same concepts over to chapter 12 on annuities. And this week, annuities are basically the same thing as an investment, but they're either a little amounts invested over time, or they are either money that you draw out over time. So you might say, well, I want to have a payment of $1,000 a month 10 years from now for the following 10 years, and that would be an annuity that would provide that kind of information. So we'll be doing some problems on that. There's different tables to use, but it's the same concept of finding how many periods and what your interest rate is, and then going to the tables and then figuring out what your table factor is, and then multiplying your table factor by your investment or your loan amount. And so we'll be going over that in chapter 12. Chapter 14 is quite different. It deals with mortgages, and so there's a few other tables to use for mortgages, basically to figure out how much your payment would be, how much your interest is going to be, and then maybe some of your information like taxes and things. Not taxes, but there's other things to figure into your payment, like insurance and such. So anyway, we go through all of that in chapter 14, and this is kind of an exciting chapter because you kind of get to see the stark reality of what happens when you take out a mortgage loan on a home. $300,000 or $500,000, what you're actually going to pay in the end is many times 3 times the amount you bought the house for, which kind of stinks. So that's all for the reason to try and get as much of a down payment as you can, so you don't pay all this wasted interest. But either way, we're going to go over all those together. So chapters 12 and 14. So you'll have, once again, if I come to my homepage here, sorry, I should have already been there in Canvas. And we scroll down here to module number 3, which, by the way, we start module 3 today. And again, you finished last week with your midterm exam, as well as you completed your case study. As we move now into week number 5, once again, you have the video you're watching here. You have a read me first. You have a help Sienna to read those. Make sure you read those and mark those done, so that way you can move on into the other assignments. You also have your study page for chapter 12. That includes a video of me working out some of the problems. It shows you exactly what sections of the book to study. Also, chapter 14, you need to mark those as done as well before you can do any of the coursework assignments below. There is a special formula sheet for this week's chapters. And then, of course, I will have a Zoom session on Thursday of this week. I've been doing them. 2 weeks ago, nobody showed up. Last week, I had one student show up for chapters 10 and 11. And we went over them together. I do apologize. I'm still working out with some new technology on my computer, so I need to still make some adjustments to it, but I'll be working on that a little bit each day when I'm in the office, and hopefully I'll be getting better at it. But I still will easily be able to explain to you how to do problems from chapter 12 and chapter 14 this Thursday. So if you want to join me at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I will be going over some problems as long as somebody logs in. If nobody logs in, I will not. But because I did already do videos on those. But if you log in, I'll work through some of the problems with you and be happy to show you how to do those problems. Of course, there'll be a quiz on chapters 12 and 14, and then you're going to be starting your third case study, and that is don't forget inflation. And this one is a 2-part assignment where you're first going to figure out how much is inflation, and then you're going to figure out what is a investment going to earn, what is the investment going to be worth in the future, and what's it going to earn. So it's kind of a future value, present value problem. It's really kind of based more in chapter 11 than it is in chapter, actually it does deal with a sinking fund, and we'll be dealing with sinking funds in chapter 12. So it deals with a little bit from chapter 11 and then chapter 12. So make sure you take your time. It's not as easy. Don't overthink it. It's pretty simple. But if you have any issues with that, let me know and I'll help you through it. So that's pretty much it for week number 5. I'll be available again in my office hours as well. If you don't want to meet me in the Zoom session on Thursday, you can join me on campus in my office on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 1:30, and then also again at night from 4 to 6 p.m. or on Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. I'm available those times on campus, and then on Thursdays from 10 to 11 I'm also available. So anyway, that's it. Have a great week, everybody. If you need anything, get a hold of me.